All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're doing a total forensic breakdown of a seriously chilling anomaly from Westbridge High. We're looking at the echoes of Locker 319.
You know, every single student at Westbridge High grew up with one absolute unspoken rule: never open Locker 319. Starting off with a forbidden act like that just instantly hooks you, right? Like, why this specific locker out of hundreds? And what exactly goes down if someone actually breaks that rule? It completely sets the stage for the absolute horror that's about to unfold. To really get the depth of this mystery, you have to wrap your head around the number 20. This wasn't just a locker that got jammed for a semester. No, it had been completely sealed shut and totally untouched for over 20 years. Literally, nobody at the school knew why the administration locked it up. And honestly, that creates the absolute perfect vacuum for urban legends. When something is hidden away in plain sight for that long, human imagination just rushes right in to fill the gaps. So to fill that massive 20-year void, some very specific rumors started spreading like wildfire long before our protagonist, Ethan, ever had his fateful encounter. The local lore claimed that way back in 1999, a boy just vanished, right at that exact locker. And to make things even creepier, students would constantly report hearing these strange, muffled whispers echoing from behind those metal doors late at night. But, of course, almost everyone just laughed it off as your typical cliché high school ghost story. Well, that brings us directly to the inciting incident. Picture this. It's nearly 7 p.m. Ethan has stayed super late to finish up basketball practice. The hallways are completely deserted. They're dead silent, except for that harsh, annoying buzzing sound you get from old overhead fluorescent lights. He is entirely isolated. There is literally no one around to help him and absolutely no one around to witness what happens next. In the middle of that total heavy isolation, the silence just breaks. From the far, dark end of the hallway, a whisper echoes out, and it calls his exact name: Ethan. Now, Ethan completely freezes. His blood runs cold because he realizes that voice, it's coming directly from that forbidden spot, Locker 319. And against every single ounce of common sense, he slowly inches closer and just calls out to the empty hallway. Who's there? He gets absolutely no verbal answer. Instead, the quiet is totally shattered. Bang! Out of absolutely nowhere, the heavy metal locker starts shaking violently. This completely obliterates that slow, eerie buildup and forces Ethan to stumble backward in pure panic. Because at this point, it's not just some silly ghost story about whispers anymore. There is intense, aggressive physical force slamming against the inside of that door. And just as the kid is trying to catch his breath, the tension spikes again in a very sudden, distinctly modern way. His phone buzzes in his pocket. He looks down, and he's got a real-time text message from an unknown number. The message is painfully simple but deeply terrifying. Do not open the locker. His heart goes into absolute overdrive. I mean, think about it. Someone or something is either watching him right now in that empty hallway, or they know exactly what kind of danger he's standing right in front of. At this point, Ethan's panic is totally peaking. He's standing all alone in this buzzing hallway. A locker has just violently attacked itself, and now his phone is getting anonymous, perfectly timed warnings from nowhere. He frantically types back the most natural, desperate response. Who are you? He's just trying to make sense of the madness, trying to tether himself to reality and figure out who on earth is sending this warning through an empty school. The answer he gets arrives instantly, and it's terrifying. The text replies, "Because I opened it first." And right at that exact perfectly timed moment, the heavy metal door of Locker 319 just creaks open, entirely on its own. The coordination there between a digital text message hitting his phone and the physical world ripping open in front of him is so incredibly unsettling. The warning just came way too late. So what is actually inside this locker that's been bolted shut for 2 decades? Well, we find an artifact. Just sitting inside that dark, incredibly dusty space is an old cell phone. But the absolute most impossible part, the screen is still glowing. Despite being locked away in the dark for 20 years, this relic from the past is completely active. It's holding a charge that completely defies logic. And right there, sitting on the cracked display, is one single unread video, just waiting for Ethan. Let's pause and map out the chronological chain of this curse, just to really understand the magnitude of what Ethan stumbled into. Way back in 1999, a boy records a desperate piece of security footage. Immediately following whatever happened that night, the locker is permanently sealed for over 20 years, effectively trapping the anomaly inside. And that brings us straight to the present day, connecting the timeline directly as Ethan picks up this impossibly glowing phone. The past and the present are now physically and digitally locked together. With his hands literally shaking, Ethan presses play. The video is grainy security footage from 1999. In it, a teenage boy is standing right in front of locker 319. And the kid is absolutely terrified. He keeps nervously darting his eyes, looking behind his shoulder as if something totally unseen is hunting him. Then, he stares dead into the camera lens and delivers this haunting, desperate plea. If anyone finds this, don't let it out. The very second those words leave the boy's mouth, the horror bleeds straight off the phone and into Ethan's actual reality. First, those buzzing hallway lights all around Ethan suddenly snap completely black. The only light left is the eerie pale glow coming from the phone screen in his hands. Then, on that glowing screen, right behind the boy in the 1999 video, someone, or something, slowly starts crawling out of locker 319. The sheer visceral terror of seeing this unfold causes Ethan to just drop the phone straight onto the hard floor. But dropping the phone doesn't stop it. The video just keeps playing down there on the dark floor. Except now, the creature is totally gone from the screen. It's not just a digital recording anymore. Suddenly, Ethan feels this freezing cold breath hit the back of his neck in the pitch-black hallway. And from the darkness, standing right beside him, a voice whispers, "Thanks for opening it." The horror broke out of the screen. It's standing right there with him. Then, the hallway lights violently flicker back on. Ethan immediately looks inside the open locker, but it's completely empty. However, there's a small mirror attached to the inside of the locker door. Ethan's actual face in the real world is frozen in pure, unadulterated terror. He is absolutely not smiling. But his reflection in that mirror, it is looking right back at him with this massive, unnatural smile. It's horrifying. Whatever was trapped in that locker for 20 years has seemingly swapped places with his reflection. So, the lights are back on, the immediate incident has seemingly concluded, and locker 319 is once again sitting wide open and empty. But that entity, it's no longer trapped behind metal doors. It's out there now, maybe wearing Ethan's face, or maybe lurking right back in the dark. So the real question we have to walk away with today, especially knowing the cyclical nature of this lore, is this: who is the locker going to call out to next?